Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello, hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, aka the Advantage Coach.
And this is episode 72 of the Field to the Real podcast. We're going to keep
y'all
this
don't
thing
know.
right on rolling.
Listen, so y'all see what we look like, right?
Right.
Early in the morning, we don't care. We're going to get it done.
We're going to get it done. And it's crazy because this is, I want to say, the very first time that we have recorded a podcast and we're going to put it out on the same day.
Yeah. Like y'all
Very
practically getting a live one.
Right.
Practically live. Yeah. So, yeah. I had somebody tell me, I sent a picture like, am I okay for today? And she was like, oh, you finally look like you're doing a podcast because you look sporty.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Well, I don't want to know what I look like I'm doing right now.
Oh, goodness. I was like, yeah, it's a hat day today. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to let me. And yeah.
Which I didn't see was last week when we did the podcast. I had this on my head.
Yeah.
I saw Steph, how she looked at me, and I was like, let me just take it.
I did not, y'all. Don't keep putting that on me. No.
But the roots are even nappier today, and I think we just gonna keep them up under here.
Hey, you can do what you do. Like whatever you need to do, you do. Listen, if I took this off, y'all will be screaming, okay?
Oh man. So. You say that now.
No, for real. No, for real. No. Yeah. And shout out, let me quickly just shout out Hatsology. For my personalized hats that I get from them. So like this one says 100% Black woman.
I'm gonna have to patronize them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So shout out to them.
Yeah. All right. So okay. We got Who's Really Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We usually have a meeting and we go over like who's really right. And it's so funny now that I feel like either one of us could do it. But you probably do it the best. The fact that you could take a topic and know precisely what side of it I'm going to argue and say, yo, this is going to be our Who's Really Right. Because this past week is just, you know what I'm saying, been kind of rough and trying or whatever. And we had maybe a small ounce of a thought of, you know, pushing the podcast and waiting until next week to do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, we gotta keep it.
Yeah. He won't sit down, y'all. Right.
So Steph, thankfully, went ahead and compiled a list of the topics for the day.
Yeah.
And I looked at that Who's Really Right, and it's funny. I thought to myself, I was like, I know what side of this she's arguing. And so we didn't even choose which side of it we were on until right before we hit record.
Right. Yes, literally.
Right. And so
literally.
we were both on the sides that we thought we would be on.
Yep.
Without further ado, you all may or may not have heard that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a part of a financial collective, decided to purchase the XFL for $15 million. Right? So I hope you guys can see Steph's face right now. Because I think you can see how she feels about this one.
Oh gosh.
Our Who's Really Right for this week is, will The Rock have a better go at it than the last two reboots? Well, I won't say that the first one was just the
initial,
but
right.
This last reboot, will Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson have a better go at it?
Yeah, with XFL 3.0. Yeah. That's so what this is.
What say you?
And no. Like I just told you before we started, I'll use the same analogy of a restaurant being put in a particular area, and the restaurant doesn't do well, so it closes down.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else just feeling themselves, I guess, as though, but my restaurant is going to do well here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they bring their restaurant in. And again, it's failure. I mean, they might do better than the first one, because it might be a different cuisine, or, they thought, well, in their mind, the logic was, well, I'm going to do it differently, or I'm going to do a different kind and people will come.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it fails.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the third person comes along, and for some reason, you think that if you bring different cuisine to the same spot that has failed twice, that you're going to be able to make some magic happen. And typically, it's the same result. It fails. Typically, it fails. And so, I mean, let me say this. I don't want it to fail. I love The Rock. Listen, I want this to work. Right. And I feel like the only way that it will is if they truly come up with something that's more out of the box than 2.0 was.
Okay.
That will, because 2.0 wasn't horrible. I think Rona got 2.0.
Exactly.
Rona got 2.0, but it wasn't it still wasn't what they were expecting it to be. I think they were hoping for better than even what they were getting.
No, I think they exceeded expectation, considering the very first week, their numbers
were really good.
Yeah, their numbers were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the numbers slightly decreasing over the next few weeks, which you're going to get that with a brand new product, like people are going to be all eyes in.
Yeah.
But they were able to keep viewership at the number that, a number higher than what they had expected.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so my thing about 2.0 and its failures, I think 2.0's failure was totally due to the pandemic.
Okay.
They didn't know what this thing was, and they had to shut down immediately. And obviously, when you are fresh out and you got to shut down for something due to something other than you, then you're staring failure right in the face. But I think that the brilliance or the genius of The Rock buying it at such a low price, is that I don't think the NFL was going to go on. I think if they do start, I think that these teams are going to get blasted by positive COVID tests, and that they'll end up having to end their season.
Yeah.
In the spring, I think when the XFL comes back, they'll be able to.
Okay.
They'll actually be able to have a bubble, because they'll have 32 teams that they'll have to worry about.
Right.
They'll have maybe 8. And they'll be able to go to one location and do it the right way.
Yeah. I had a conversation with, y'all know Jamia. She's been on the show, about the whole, how does the NFL need to go about this? And it's funny because that was a conversation we had. Like, how do you do a bubble with the NFL? Because that seems to be the way that this can work if we're watching the NBA. You know what I mean? The bubble is the way to go. The NBA and the soccer, it's the way to go.
And we see while watching the MLB that it's a way for it not to work.
Right, definitely. But I said, what could work possibly is it'll just make the NFL a little more boring, but it's possible. You would shorten the season and you would put, I'm sorry, this is off topic, but you would put, you would only do divisional games. So you would find a neutral spot for that like for the NFC South. You would find a neutral spot and they would play all of their games against each other.
Okay.
There. Maybe they played each other, you know what I mean? And whoever was top seed or whatever had the best record in each division, then you would find another neutral location for those top teams to come together to play each other until you would kind of do a bracket.
Multiple bubbles.
You would do like a bracket. Yeah. But you would bubble out. You would stay in this bubble until you figured out who won. And then you would go to the next place, but you would still be bubbled out.
Okay.
with the teams that were all like top of their division, and then they would go through like a bracket thing.
Okay.
Yeah. They could do it like that. But anyway, that's beside the point. I like the idea. You know what? I'm going to even say I concede that, because that is a good, that's if. That's the idea. Listen, I hope you listening, Brock, just in case that wasn't your idea.
Right.
Jarrett always coming up with genius. That's why he's a football genius. Y'all need to listen. Coming up with these great like ideas for you all. So I feel like that makes sense. If the NFL figures out, or even if they start and it blows up in their face and they have to stop. But by the spring, Lord Jesus, we would pray
right
that we would be in a different space, and they could do it the way that you said. That makes perfect sense. Like, I like that. That's a way, especially if the NFL doesn't get to really go forward the way people will be so hungry for football by that time.
Look, we gonna watch any. We gonna watch it.
I don't care what it is. Like, is it arena foot? What is it? Like,
if we can double that, let's do it.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Okay. All right.
Let's see what you guys say. But I'm pretty confident in this. Who's really
right.
right.
You should be confident in this. Who's really right. No, the idea was great. Like, but that's if they follow your idea.
Yeah, and that's if the NFL cares enough to, once all of these outbreaks starts happening between those teams, if they care enough to end the season, because what it feels like is like they're too big they think they're too big to fail.
Well, but the one thing I will say is these players are not playing. They're not. So if
I saw two receivers from the Dolphins say, "Nah, thanks, but no thanks."
Yeah, they're not playing. So if the ones who decided not to opt out go and it starts to get crazy, I feel like, I don't know if it was something put in place in the agreement that they came up with, but at that point, I feel like they would just be like, you know what? We want to pump the brakes. You know, I don't care what the owners and the NFL, no, we want to pump the brakes. Yeah, like, you know. And what happens, I guess I need to see what all of the ins and outs of this are, because my thing is, if I decided not to opt out by Thursday, which was the date that they had to opt out by, and then I go and then I start to see things happening, and I want to stop then. What's the penalty? Is it just that I don't get paid? I'm good with that. Like, that's what'll happen, essentially.
Yeah. I think that they are receiving a portion of their salary if they opt out, right? No? They don't get any of it. Okay.
Well, they might get, no, that's right. They get like $50,000.
Okay. I thought it was something like that, some type of.
Yeah, they get like $50,000, which is nothing to most of them because.
Yeah, because they're multimillionaires.
Right. 50,000 is a check in 1 week. So.
Right.
Like,
right.
What? So. So y'all let us know. I know.
50,000 in 1 week.
In 1 week. Well, that's okay. We're gonna get there, Jesus.
No,
But yeah, no, y'all let us know who's really right. It would have to be only the way that you said that would make sense to me. That scenario would have to line up perfectly, just like you just said. Otherwise, no. Nope. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So,
speaking of opting out,
right? when you first sent me the story of this, I was sent sort of in. So when I say in isolation, I mean that the Pac-12 was the only conference that we had seen band together this way. Yeah. But now the Big-10, their players have joined together to make some demands about this season going off and what needs to happen before that happens. And so super proud of these players because absolutely it is reminiscent. Well, actually it's taken to a larger scale what Northwestern did a few years ago. And even what Missouri did. And basically that's use your leverage of playing, because these
programs
make a lot of money off of you, and if you don't play, and if you are willing to use the leverage of not playing, they have to acquiesce to your demands.
That's right. I mean, literally, they have them. They have them on the ropes at this point. They have them on the ropes at this point, and the demands that they're asking for are. I love it because it's not just like their safety is a demand. Social justice is a demand. And then their ability to make money off of their own names and their own is a demand. Like they're not just, so they swinging for they're swinging for the fence. I think that they thought that it was very well thought out. And whomever organized it and helped them, because I'm sure they had some help to get this all, worked out, was very meticulous in thinking like, what are the things that are realistically that you need in order to be the best player, safe and receiving what's rightfully yours and you deserve. I love it. I'm like, go for it. I didn't love, however, the Washington State coach's response to Cassidy Woods.
Oh, yes.
Did not like that.
Yeah, at all.
Did not like that. And so for you all who don't know, so Cassidy Woods decided to opt out because I think he has sickle cell, which is an autoimmune disease, which means he's more likely to be in higher risk with COVID. And so he opted not to participate this season. Now, the thing was, he didn't realize that opting out meant that he couldn't participate in workouts. So that was his whole conversation with the coach initially was, can I still work out? And he was like, no, if you're opting out, you can't do that. But then the coach turns around and says, he said something to the coach that made the coach, I guess, think about this unification that the Pac-12 has put together. And he said to him, now you cannot go and be a part of that if you want to come play here again.
Now, when you first sent that, I was thinking that Mike Leach was still the coach of Washington State. And I was like,
yeah, I can't remember his name right now. No, but yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a new coach. And this right here, these type of intimidation factors, I don't know. Is the reason
factors, because you said factors are.
Oh, okay. Are. Yes. The reason why head trauma in all forms of football has been a thing. It's that type of intimidation, from coaches and sometimes even from teammates.
Right.
That have put players like squarely in the crosshairs of like long-term injury. And now that we're speaking about something like players using their voice to exact change for a coach to try to use an intimidation tactic. That's all right. I don't know if you've seen this train, Cassidy, but it's starting to move. And there are a lot of players who are transferring right now to HBCUs. So I'm sure. And I'm not even going to talk just about Howard. I want this thing to be picked up all across the board. So Alabama States, the FAMUs, the Texas Southerns.
Right.
Those coaches will welcome you with open arms.
Yeah. And you won't have to worry about having to have those. Some of these conversations are not going to go on, won't have to happen. Social justice conversations don't necessarily have to go on the campus of HBCU.
Right.
Some of the other things maybe, but the safety protocols, absolutely, that's still something that needs to be addressed. I don't care where you go to school. But it's just for you to be told, right?
You know what I'm saying, for the season, and you still get a year
your
of
scholarship
eligibility
year
for, you know
eligible.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, so they've taken care of the safety protocol issue because they're fine. We don't want to even put anybody at risk, period.
Right.
So it's not even worth it. And they take the biggest hit because they have the least amount of money.
Exactly.
But they care enough about their players, so that speaks volumes in itself. But even if you don't go to a HBCU, I just say go somewhere where somebody's got your back.
Right.
Genuinely, not just saying it, but genuinely has your back. And so this coach saying that to him, because it was almost like he tried to play it like, well, if you're going to say you out for because of, your health, then you can't go and participate in that. I don't know what one has to do with the other.
Right.
I don't know how you get to tell me that I can't do this with my own time because I'm not even on campus. You just told me I can't come work out. I'm not even there.
Right.
So how do you tell me I can't participate in this? So that's for me where the problem comes in, because this has nothing to do with, I don't believe there's some rule out there that says that this is your personal feelings. Don't participate in that if you want to play on my football team. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
No, it is.
So.
It is.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wasn't feeling that at all. But kudos to these, like you said, kudos to these young men who have, said, you know what, we are, and I applaud. I think that watching professional athletes step up.
Yeah.
And especially, I think, again, our boy, Adam Silver.
Yeah.
And the way he's handled it with the NBA has given these young men like the fuel they needed to say, you know what, we do have a voice. We can make some things. Let's use it. You know what I mean? So I feel like that.
Adam Silver should teach a master class on leadership.
But yeah, on everything when it comes to leadership. Real talk.
Right.
So I applaud these young men, and I hope that they get everything they're asking for. Honestly, because I don't think any of it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unrealistic. All right.
Now
this one.
All right. So women not having equal access to players, especially in the NFL. Is this more along the lines of women in the media? And not having the same access to players like after games and
just
practices.
Period. Like, so Andrea Kramer, Pam Oliver, and Kimberly Martin they did like a segment on NFL Network talking about this. And they were not just talking about locker room access. They were literally like, if they went to try to form some sort of rapport with an agent or somebody who could, help them get more access to these guys.
Right.
They have roadblocks.
Yeah.
Like they are not so they gave an example, and I don't want to say it incorrectly, so I'm not going to say names. I'm going to just say, I believe that they said there was a situation where a reporter went to either a player or an agent's house while they were having a party, got drunk, stayed overnight, and then ended up getting the interview. Which is something they couldn't do.
They as women couldn't do something like that.
Nope.
Yeah.
So they were talking about the unfair advantage that a man, because of the access he's allowed to these players, not just in the locker room, but period.
But
because they even talked about how, as women, one of the things that they always have to do is make it clear that they're being professional. Well, do you ask the male reporter if he's being professional? You know what I mean? Because it's either they make it plain that they're here strictly on a professional level, or there's innuendo that
subject to
you could be trying to holler. Like what? sir, please
Right.
get out of your ego. I'm here on my
Yeah.
job. Like, really? So it's just tough. And you know, with all of this talk about social justice and equality and inclusion and all of this kind of stuff, for me, this is personal because, you know, one of my, I don't want to call it a bucket list, but one of my goals is to be a chaplain
for
the NFL.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't happen. Not females. Because of the same thing, access. And that's, you know, because I guess chaplains need to be able to be in the locker rooms and all of that kind of stuff. Listen, just put it up and I can come in and do my job. I'm not really interested in that. That's not what I'm here for.
All right, y'all, let's start a campaign, especially since she's right there in Charlotte. Let's start a campaign for Steph to be the first woman chaplain for an NFL team. Those of you who are here right now, like, let's tweet and hashtag that.
Oh my gosh.
Stephanie for chaplain.
Oh my goodness.
And then at the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it is such I even wrote a blog about this about 2 years ago, just the frustration that comes with, I mean, because, you know, as you know, I worked in a high school and my job was to work with the football players.
Right.
And so I never felt like I wasn't a part of, or, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, let me be clear. I never went in the locker room, but that was because I didn't want to smell it. But I don't think I wasn't given access. You know, they're young, they little hormones. No, yeah. But I don't think I was denied access. But as it gets more and more like collegiate and professional, it gets harder and harder. And I don't understand that, because I have the same love and desire that I have when it comes to somebody in the 6th grade, 12th grade, is the same love and desire I have for when you're college or professional. You know what I mean? I just want to see you be the best person you can be. And whatever I can do to help make that happen, that's what I want to do.
Right. So I think having been in locker rooms, right, I think that there is a culture of, you know, any woman that's around, there is a bit of sexualization going on.
Yeah, it's sexism. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that part's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I would say it's more so unfortunate because I think that entire teams take the rap for that. Like, on a lot of, from high school all the way up until my senior year of college, we've always had, on each of my teams, we've always had like women trainers.
Yeah. And that's the most they do. Yep.
Right. And so they had to be in our locker rooms. They had to. And so you'd see this duality of guys who are very protective of them as they were family, but guys who were looking at them in a more sexual manner. You know what I'm saying? And so
is that our fault though? Like, God gave us what we got. I don't know that, you know what I mean? Like, how is that? That's not fair.
No. I don't know. No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it as in like it's acceptable or it should be taught.
No, you just, I know. Yeah.
I'm just, you know, speaking about it in because there were plenty. Shout out to all of the trainers at Howard,
absolutely,
at Coolidge High School, who I had very good relationships with, and I see and it's still like they like family, like like Lena and Paris. I don't know if you guys will hear this, but in a little bit, like, you know, all those young ladies were like family to me, like so much so that if I was in the cafeteria and I saw them come up and get in the back of the line, I'm telling them all, yo, come get in front of me.
Yeah.
You know and I'm not saying that to like make myself
No.
sign over
But
there.
we already know, Jarrett, you're different. You're different. It's just what it is. So yeah.
Well, but I do think it's important to say, like, that there is another side to this thing, and I think that it's unfortunate that all of football and all of locker rooms, and I won't even include basketball, because I feel like basketball, especially
they're a little different. Yeah,
they're a little different. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's a lot less personalities.
Yeah.
And I would probably say that it's a lot less tolerable. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I believe it. I don't see it in basketball like that.
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't.
Like, I feel like Taylor
That's why
Wilson,
so many more women that are involved from a media standpoint in basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely so much more, like, out there, like, because we typically only see Pam Oliver doing Josina Anderson is who I was thinking about.
Okay.
I feel like she is able to get some of those, like, it was a time where I felt like Josina Anderson was, like, popping stuff, you know what I'm saying, or breaking things, like, quicker than Adam Schefter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah.
I'm not sure what happened with her. I don't see her as much.
Yeah.
Which may speak to that point. But it's unfortunate all around. Like, if you're a woman who's grown up to want to, be a part of sports journalism, and you get to this highest point and you still see that there's a glass ceiling, it has to be like a feeling of frustration with that.
Absolutely. I think that's what they talked about. Like, the three women, that's what they were talking about. Like, their frustrations. Pam's had probably the greater, Andrea Kramer's had great success. They've all had great success, but I feel like Pam's gotten some, like, Deion Sanders that was his go-to person.
Yeah.
Like, he trusted Pam.
Right.
So, like, that's what kind of broke the ceiling for her a little bit, because Deion said it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And honestly, that's what needs to happen. What needs to happen is a band of NFL players, like, and I could I'll use the analogy of, like, when we're talking about police and policing in our neighborhoods, and we say, like, yo, the good cops don't just need to be good cops. They need to speak against the bad cops.
Correct.
And so that's what needs to happen in these locker rooms, though. These guys who are making it very uncomfortable for these women, speak up about it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a peer at this point, when these women who are doing, who are trying to gain these interviews and trying to gain access, like, if they speak up about it, it gets hushed. It gets swept under the rug. And
they're complainers, and just try harder, and that's your fault. And
it could possibly stymie opportunity for them.
Absolutely. And so that's why they don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, y'all in these locker rooms who see this stuff going on, like, speak up about it.
Absolutely. I agree. For sure. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Like, I mean, it's a personal thing for me. So, yeah. I'm not trying to be a reporter, but
yeah. But still, like, having that access, like, it's unfortunate when you think to yourself, like, well, no one like me has done this.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't have no problem. Like, I don't mind being a pioneer, or I want to see this happen if it takes me being that one, I'm good. And the beautiful thing about it is, I have I don't know another way to say, I have the moxie to put up with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I've been in this world for so long.
Like, I know you got it. I know you got it.
So I'm like, whatever, so yeah. Well, anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, to say the least. Okay.
All right. Let's do mental health moment first.
Okay.
Because I really got to get to my guy for on to the
yeah.
Mental health moment. It's kind of like a tearjerker, much like we talk about
Feel good final thought. Yeah, this one is definitely an eyeball sweater.
And we're talking about Keyon Dooling.
Yeah.
Who he went through a few different teams in the NBA. I want to say he played with the Miami Heat. I definitely remember him with the Miami Heat. I definitely remember him with the Boston Celtics. But
I was gonna say the Celtics. Like that's the big thing for me. I don't know why it's the Celtics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I heard about his story and his dealings with paranoia and post-traumatic stress disorder, just hearing the genesis of his story was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He talked about playing basketball, he and another 7-year-old with some of the older guys in the neighborhood, and it began to rain, and one of the older guys invited them to an apartment to continue hanging out and just to get, escape the rain. And as a 7-year-old, he and his friend went into the apartment with this older guy, and the guy put on pornography, and he began to sexually assault these two young men. And he talks about, Keyon Dooling, that is, talks about how that experience made him, so it caused him to have such a tough outer shell.
Right.
And that he was very distrusting of people. And
rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah. And so fast forward, I want to say this was in Boston. He went to the bathroom. He was using the bathroom at a urinal in the stall. And a guy who had been drinking walked up behind him and assaulted him. Sexually assaulted him. And he said that was the moment where his paranoia had kind of come back. And he said all of these memories and these feelings just kind of came back. And he just, he talked about calling home to his mom, calling his wife, and having them pray with him, and how that feeling just wouldn't leave him. And so when he went to talk to Danny Ainge, who was the president and the general manager for the Boston Celtics, he went to talk to him about retiring. Danny Ainge could sense in some of the things that he was saying that something just wasn't quite right with him. So Danny Ainge decided to call someone and get him help.
Thank you, Danny Ainge.
And
thank you for recognizing.
Yeah, like, because a lot of the times what we hear with these executives and these folks is that they don't care about you beyond the sport. And so you have an example of an executive like Danny Ainge, be so in tune with one of his players.
Right.
He cares so much that he actually called. For help for Keyon Dooling. Was special to hear.
Yeah, and I think that some of that is when you play the sport, you have a different empathy.
Right.
And so that's first, and then the fact that he may have recognized some things that look familiar.
Yeah.
Whether that be from himself or other people that he played with, or you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can just look in somebody's eyes and see that they're dull.
Yeah.
Something's missing.
Something's amiss.
And so kudos to Keyon Dooling for it. And here's the thing, not just Danny Ainge recognizing it and seeking help for him, Keyon Dooling being willing to take the help, because I just had this conversation yesterday with somebody that mental health, because addiction is a mental illness, but mental illnesses that typically aren't considered like addictive behaviors, like, people who, that somebody who's an alcoholic or a drug addict, substance abuser, you typically know that the only way that they're really going to get better is when they decide that they want help. And people, when their faculties are still all together, when it's mental illness outside of addiction, they're going to have to want to get help too in order for it to work. They've got to be able to, first of all, accept that they need the help.
Yes.
And say, okay, so I know I need it. Now I got to go get it. And that's when healing, or not even healing, because there's no such thing, but that's when coping strategies and the things that can help you along the way can be put in place. Yeah. So kudos to him for, saying, you know what, I needed. Like, he probably walked in Danny Ainge's office like, I'm done. Danny was like, hold up, something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to see somebody. And he could have easily have been like, what?
Nah,
I'm retiring, whatever. I'm
yeah.
out. But he was like, you know what? You're right. I do. Some is off. I need to see somebody. So kudos to both of them. And so sad that this is even that was even having to be his reality. Like, yeah, people don't get the trauma that they. Yeah, we're not. That's a rabbit hole. Anyway, yeah.
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 So, shout out to you, Mr. Dooling, for recognizing that you need help and actually allowing folks to help you.
Yes, absolutely.
And Danny Ainge for recognizing it, because it could just be business as usual with you, and you hear that one of your players is retiring, and it could just be, okay, on your way. This isn't my problem to deal with
anymore. That's right. Yeah. I see it, but it ain't my problem. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
All right. On to the real.
Listen.
Blake Griffin.
Oh my goodness.
Now, some months ago, our On to the Real was Pat McAfee.
Yes.
And watching him begin his comedy career before he left the sport was, I wouldn't say, well, it was certainly inspiring, but just to see that he was able to take ownership of something that gave him so much joy, that left him feeling like leaving football was okay.
That's what you want to see.
And that's like a big thing for us.
Yes.
And so to see Blake Griffin do the same, because he's been doing comedy for quite some time now.
Yeah. He's embracing his outside of the sport thing. And I love it. Yeah.
And he's still playing, by the way.
Yes.
You just haven't seen him in the bubble because he plays for the Detroit Pistons.
Right. Right.
But no, I think it's I think the good thing about this is that he's like actually funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those things where he's like, I'm going to go and do something and it's going to make me happy and I'm going to be cool with it. No, like, he's actually funny. I've seen a few of he had a little comedy. I want to say it might have only been 5 minutes. It was a clip on Comedy Central, and like, he really tore down the house.
Good, love it. Yeah, and I love it. So this is something that I'm, as a life coach, I'm always telling people: if you have a craft, especially when I'm working with athletes, if it's a craft outside of the sport, we know that you're going to do what you need to do for football or for whatever sport you play. We know you're going to, whatever you need to do, workout, practice, drills, whatever you need to do, you're doing. The same vigor that you do that with, do your craft that you love outside of the sport in helping you to get better. And so that's what I love about this story, is because that's why he's gotten into comedy prior to leaving basketball, because he said he wanted to get better at the craft. So he's shadowing people. He's meeting people. He's practicing his craft, basically, to get better, so that when that's over, he'll already have a name for himself. He'll be able to go out there and just keep it moving.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it. He said, my whole idea is to start now, to get in and meet a bunch of people, shadow people, learn the ins and outs. So when I'm done playing, I'm not starting fresh.
Mm-hmm. You can just transition right into it.
Right. Just a smooth transition. Boom. Yeah. Love it.
I'm going to mention it right now. We had just talked about him. I won't mention it right now. We can talk about this. It's kind of like an update onto the real with Pat McAfee that I was just talking about. But him doing it when he did it, helped for this moment that he was just able to experience. So
okay, awesome,
we'll
love
talk
it.
about that in a different show. But
Okay, Spice Adams is another one like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did him a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So love it. I love it. So kudos. Do your thing, Blake.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Like,
right.
I'm excited. That's you don't look like a comedian, but that's okay. I don't know that there's a true look for a comedian, but
yeah, I'm about to
I
say,
definitely don't say you definitely don't look like a comedian to me. But it's okay. I can't because he has such a serious stoic face.
Yeah.
He's not like Dwight Howard. I could say, okay, yeah, if he wanted to be a comedian, fine, because all you ever doing is cheesing. You know what I mean? But Blake has a stoic face.
Dwight Howard's like goofy funny.
Well, I'm just saying it in the fact of just what you look like.
What you look like, yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he's supposed to be one. I'm just saying he looks like it because you always silly. Like, you always doing silly stuff. So I see you being a comedian. Blake has a stoic face. I'd see LeBron before Blake because LeBron smiles. Blake is always just,
Yeah.
You don't never see him smile.
I got to send you one of those clips.
Okay.
Especially that Comedy Central one that I saw. Like, it was really funny.
Okay. I'd love to watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Feel good final thought?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times we've talked about this young lady on this podcast, but like every time she does something like
she's taking it up and up and up.
Notch, like, So Santia Deck, after making history with receiving a multi-million-dollar football contract, she has now secured her own shoe.
Yeah.
And I just
think history
that's dope on so many levels.
History. She just keeps making history.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about it. Like, you just keep making history. Like, keep doing you, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. They're the Tronus. Her shoes are called Tronus.
Tronus?
Tronus.
Okay. I wonder what that symbolizes.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Tronus, but it's Tronus. Tronus.
Tronus. Okay.
So she's got obviously she's got different colors, but then she just came out with like a Legends version. And it's another one I can't remember. But yeah, so yeah, she's doing her thing. Like, I would buy a pair not to wear, but just to support. Just to support. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would too. I remember when we first talked about this, because we talked about this and we knew that we was going to put it on for Phil, your final thought.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the ones that we actually had talked about, and I was like, I wonder how much of that deal or the percentage she's getting. Like, hopefully it's not a thing where she got like an upfront amount and she doesn't have equity in the shoe.
Right.
But even after thinking about that, that's just my business mind.
Of course, that's you.
I
found out what Tronus means.
What was that?
Throne. Because she calls herself the queen of the abs, right? So she kind of just going along with that
with that thing. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but shout out to her. Like, she continues to push the envelope, and
I love it.
Continues to make and create history. So we salute you, queen of the abs.
Oh, this is her own sneaker company.
Ooh. So I'm gonna have to.
So there you go.
Once I get a couple dollars, I'm gonna have to strike me up a pair.
Yeah, this is her own sneaker company. It says she's the first female athlete to own a sneaker company. Not just have a sneaker deal, but she's So come on with it.
This is bigger than what we even thought it was.
Yes, come on, girl.
Yeah, listen. Shout out to you, Santia.
Loving it. Yes, God. Yeah. Yes, God. Okay.
All right. Show picks.
All right.
What
so I'm gonna change. I'm gonna switch up. Okay.
Switching up.
From what I said, I'm switching up. I'm gonna talk about an old and a new for me. So Suits is something I watched when it originally started on USA Network. But I had to go back and kind of start watching it again. That show is so good. And if you don't know, this is the show that Meghan Markle was on prior to becoming part of the royal family and marrying her Harry. So yeah, it's a really good show. Lots of I like intricacies, and so there's a lot of different moving parts to the show, but it's all centered around this law firm.
Okay.
Yeah, and a young man who becomes a powerhouse within this law firm by deceiving people into believing that he actually is a lawyer.
Okay.
So he's not an actual lawyer, but yeah, he is a beast in the courtroom. So yeah, he was just that smart. It didn't even require him to go to law school. He just literally knew everything, like literally.
I need that superpower.
Right. So, but it's a really good show. I think it was like 6 or 7 seasons. It's really good. Okay. So Suits is one, and the other one is I'm changing from the one that I put because I just told my friend the other day, you know, with all of the heaviness in the world, you know, I talk about this all the time, finding funny stuff. Sometimes it's not funny. Sometimes you just need ratchet. You know this because you watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yes.
So,
why you had to do that?
Well, so I found my own ratchetness. Okay.
What's that?
And it's called Marrying Millions.
I've heard of that.
Listen, Jarrett.
I don't know.
Let me tell you something.
Is it ratchet?
It's the premise of the show is a rich person and a poor, I'm gonna say poor person in a relationship together.
What does it come on?
Lifetime.
Okay.
Listen, for instance, I'm gonna just give you this one. It's 6 couples on the first season. The one couple is a 21-year-old girl whose parents are poor, and a 60-year-old man who is probably one of the richest real estate developers in Dallas, Texas.
Oh wow!
So he hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. The two of them. Now you would think, oh, it's typical. That's what happened. They go get these little young girls, but she's really in love with this man. Like it's. I'm telling you, like it is crazy. She don't even take money from him. I mean, she lives with him, and he buys her stuff. But it's not like she's like, you got to buy me in order for me to stay. Like she literally doesn't even. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like
okay, I gotta watch that.
You have to. Or Josh Hamilton's ex-wife is on here.
She got her a little sugar.
She got her a little sugar baby. So she's dating a 23-year-old who is her daughter's friend.
It sounds familiar. So it's not just an entanglement?
No.
A little more than the entanglement.
Yeah, a little more than the entanglement. But yeah, no. But most of the stories are not. Their age differences. The gap isn't that big. But it's just fascinating. I'm telling you, it's ratchet, but it was so good just watching it. So if you just need mindless TV, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. You said it's
Lifetime.
$1 million.
Marrying Millions.
Marrying Millions. Okay. I'm gonna write that down. I do want to see this.
Yeah, no, you come listen. I'm telling you, I was like, what? It's because I looked at it, I was like, why, God, do you have me looking at this? And then I couldn't stop. I was like, this is crazy. These people are crazy. It's wild. You hear me? One woman, she dating another real estate mogul in Las Vegas. So you know she paid. Dating a construction worker. She said in one statement, she said he makes a couple $1,000 a week, or I think she said a week, and I might make like 10 10 times that or whatever in a week. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and jump into real estate.
Yeah, that's most of these people on the show. That's where their money
estate,
comes
like
from. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I think I'm gonna watch that.
Gonna watch that. Yeah. Yes, go watch that. Tell me what you think after you watch it.
All right. Yeah,
All right. Yeah. So okay.
All right,
what
so
are your picks?
I just got one.
Okay.
And I feel like I've talked about this show before, but when I did the search, I didn't see it. So even if I talk about it again, like I think this last episode was a very important episode. And I think that when you see leaders in the church who may have made some mistakes or some missteps, they don't always get this opportunity to be transparent about them, and I guess to attempt to atone for them. So the show Greenleaf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I hate I can't see it.
Why not?
Cause it's on OWN. I don't have OWN.
Okay. I might be able to
oh gosh.
hook something up.
Yeah, I don't have
let me see. I
OWN.
might be able to hook something up.
Yeah, because that's my show. I love myself some Greenleaf, honey.
Yeah.
Listen.
I had to go back to Netflix and watch parts of last season.
Okay.
I think I don't know what happened, but I think I may have missed like a couple of episodes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all the way caught up to this last season.
Yeah.
I know, but
so you got maybe like 6 episodes to watch. So yeah.
Okay.
Once I'll let me see if I can work that out. But this last episode and just seeing, you know what I'm saying, they call him Bishop on there.
Oh Lord, yeah.
To take accountability for some of the things he's done.
Yeah.
In an attempt to atone and move forward. And well, I won't spoil it, but
I had somebody already put something out that's making me think I know what happened, but I was like, really? Like, don't do that. Everybody don't watch at the same time. Don't do that.
Folks out here spoiling.
Yeah, I think I know. At least I think I know something that's going to happen, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, First Lady is my favorite because she's just so extra.
Yeah, right, she is.
She's so extra.
It's funny too, like, you don't expect anything less to her.
No, that's what I expect, and I love it. Every moment of it. Come with it. Just messy and extra all the time.
Right. I think Grace is my favorite.
No, she's character-wise, like who she is, absolutely. Mm-hmm. She's my favorite. She's the most honest, real, like introspective of them all. Like she's humble. She doesn't have that, I'm the pastor.
Right.
She doesn't have that. She doesn't have that air about her. Like she's like, no, I mess up. I'm jacked up.
Right.
Yeah. I like her too. Yes, I do. No, but you know who I like least?
Who?
What's wife? What's her name?
Oh, you talking about Jacob's wife?
Yes, Jacob's wife. I like her the least of all of them. Hands down.
So the show forces you to dislike her.
Yes.
But the show also shows you why she's the way that she is. And it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, that
I think some of it, yes. But that ambition, that's not something that was caused. I think that's the part of her that I don't like. She's very, that ambition part of her, whatever it takes to get what I want in order to be. I don't feel that. Like that's not a first lady attitude. I'm sorry.
You really ain't gonna like her this season.
Oh, great. Okay. Because I know at the end of the last season, she had done something dirty anyway.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Yeah, she went behind his back to do something dirty. Okay. Yeah, I got to see.
Worse.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna work that out.
All right.
Well, nah, this has been episode 72 of the Field to the Real podcast.
Yeah.
We certainly always appreciate your listens, your streams.
Absolutely.
We thank you all for continuing to support us, even in those moments where we can't be so consistent. Because even though it hurt to miss those 2 weeks, it was kind of needed.
Kind of.
Kind of needed, yeah.
Kind of needed. Kind of.
But if you want,
y'all still rock with us though. So
yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like folks came back 2 weeks later and listened.
Right.
So
yeah.
We certainly appreciate y'all. You know, if you want to hit us up on social media, Field the Real podcast. On IG, on Twitter is Field to the Real P1. That's the number 2, Field to the Real P1 on Twitter. If you want to shoot us an email telling us what you think about the show, you know, Field to the Real, the number 2, Field to the Real podcast at gmail.com. And for wherever you listen to this podcast, like whether it be Apple, Google, Stitcher, Anchor, any of those platforms, go on there and rate the show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you know, that would be helpful.
If you feel
subscribe
like we deserve 5 stars,
YouTube. Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying.
Even if you don't like personally interact with us, like, but let what you feel about the show be known, so people will tune in.
Right.
Yeah.
What else? YouTube. Field to the Real podcast on YouTube. Go subscribe, watch the videos, like them, comment, all that good jazz.
Yep.
But as always, we love y'all guys. Peace.